Hi, everyone. We are really excited to have you on for our next managers webinar. We're just going to give a few more minutes to those latecomers, so we'll get started right at about 11:17. Thanks so much. All right. So we want to welcome everyone to the next installment of our managers webinar. For those of y'all tuning in for the first time, I'm Bethany, Senior Operations Manager for Hand and Stone.
And I'm Lauren, Regional Operations Manager. So we're so excited to introduce you to our next topic, hashtag shared vision, goal setting and sharing in SPA.
All right, so managers, we all have a similar goal in mind. We all want to create and maintain success within each spot. So we recognize our path chosen to reach this success may be different depending on our passions or incentives. So this realization is where the hashtag shared vision was born.
Exactly. And as your ops manager, our number one goal is to help you reach or exceed your projected budget. As you all know from your experiences on field visits with us, we'll suggest different ways to increase sales based on the data shown in your FQE. We provide an analysis of the data shown, and we will suggest putting focus on an area of business, such as maybe increasing hot stones or building your facial book. Our intention is to help guide you and your team on areas of opportunity in order to achieve that projected sales goal.
So this year, the operations team is looking to be more influential than ever. A part of our new approach is to discuss and train on the areas of business that matter most to you. So while we share our own goals with you so that you know how we measure our own performances, many of you have also begun to share your own goals with us. We, in turn, have been working your goals into our field visit analyses, support calls, and more. Our whole goal is to shape our support around what matters most to you in order to reach a common goal.
Yes, and we know that some of you have been looking at the posted videos on the manager's page and maybe have been thinking it's a little cheesy, but guys, that's not the point. As fun as it is for us to record these with you, of course.
You don't have to do a video to do a shared vision. Again, it's all about the idea. It's all about the idea behind it, which is transparency and working together to reach that common goal that we've been talking about.
Amen to that. So the hashtag shared vision approach is not only on a managerial level. In order for any of this to work and for any of us to reach our shared vision, we need managers like you to bring this concept in SPA. So create a shared vision with your team. Managers, this means transparency. It means communicating what your goals are with your team and in turn, finding out theirs. You may want to increase your average ticket, but what about your team? Is it to implement a new service? Are they motivated by competition?
Right. You need your team to reach your shared vision, and they're going to need you to reach theirs. So, what better way to get their buy-in than to be transparent about what everyone's visions are? This is what ties all these visions together to reach a common goal that everyone is excited about.
And we started this year by asking you about your vision, and now it's time for you to ask your team about theirs.
Goal setting is the first step for that. So you need to identify what your vision is, what your team's is, and how they tie together.
There are several different kinds of shared visions. So there can be increasing sales, such as hitting 1,000 members, or launching a new service, such as dermal infusion.
You can also have a vision based on culture and experience, whether it be in employee retention or a mission to improve SMG scores. So the question is, how do we successfully set goals based on any of these categories?
Managers, owners, and operations managers alike all have a similar goal in mind year-round, increasing sales. So consider this. Have your owners set specific goals for your spa? Maybe you're incentivized on an area of business, or perhaps your ops manager highlight a specific area of business on your field visit. All of these considerations can lead to that specific hashtag shared vision of increasing sales in a certain area.
So once you have that goal in mind, break it down. For example, say you want to net gain 200 memberships in 1 year. What does this mean for the goal per month or even per week? Breaking this down will help you continue to keep this goal at the forefront of yours and your staff's focus. A goal for the year may very well get lost in the hustle and bustle of the day, but adding a goal per week and per month will keep things fresh and constant.
And remember, it's important you speak your staff's language. It might make more sense to break it down to say 20 hot stone massages in a month rather than 30%. Don't be afraid also to include those who have hit their goals as a motivator for the rest of the team. Spotlighting good behavior and performance is a really awesome motivating strategy. I personally love seeing spas giving shout outs in the break room to those who have kicked butt in the retail the previous week, or those who are really doing a great job in upgrading Himalayans. A little encouragement will go a long way because celebrating small victories really leads to those big victories in the long run.
Agreed. Now, let's talk about another version of a shared vision. New services can be super exciting for everyone to bring in spa, and often managers and service providers see a new service launching and get super excited and eager to bring it to their own spa.
Yeah, but new spa equipment doesn't necessarily grow on trees.
No. So you've got to remember to pace yourself and your team. There are many things to consider, such as the owner's investment, the current state of the department's performance, and more.
Yes. So when looking to launch a new service as a part of your shared vision, consider your owner's investment first. What will this new service cost to bring on board? How can we challenge our team to drive up sales in order to sort of raise money for this new onboarding?
Yeah, and you know what? Actually, San Antonio Stone Oak in Texas did exactly that. The owner, Leah Kilpatrick, and her lead, Patricia, knew that in order to bring aboard dermal infusion, they would need $9,500. So rather than make the decision black and white, they challenged their team through a call to action. This call to action required the team to perform a certain amount of services during the pilot period in order to finance the new services cost to onboard. So this not only allowed them to bring on dermal infusion in a cost-effective way, but it got the entire team involved.
Yes, I also really like the way that makes the team more aware of the expenses involved in running the business. And if you know what it takes to be able to afford this new service, why not share it with your team?
And remember, leads need to be involved early on. So before something such as this is even presented to the team, partner with your lead to decide upon what new services to bring on board, discussing what services your team is most excited for, or even any hesitations they may have. This is your partner in crime. Don't forget that. So your lead also can help you decide on a game plan for this rollout. This could be what type of contest or challenge will get the team most determined. It could also mean a game plan for the actual onboarding and training, such as announcements through communication platforms, in-house practice sessions, and more.
Yes, and lastly, remember to excite your clients about this new service. Send our demand forces, display your counter cards. Spas may also want to consider an email coupon for your new service, but be mindful about the timing of this. If you think about it, you have your staff's excitement and engagement when you first launch a new service, so why discount it right from the start? Save those coupons for several months in when the buzz actually dies down and you don't have the same excitement from your staff going on.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes the vision is all about what goes on behind the scenes, culture and experience. So we've visited many spas who have noticed, who voiced that one of their biggest goals this year is to create a more positive culture among their employees. It's important to note that the main causes of a bad spa culture are either a bad leader, a few bad apple employees, or lack of direction. Remember, we as leaders set the tone, so it is so important that we stay positive and proactive versus reactive.
Yes, so when onboarding a new employee, we discuss our expectations for performance, we go through various trainings, and get a signature of the employee handbook. And this is all well and fine, but how do we reset the expectation when they don't meet their end of the bargain? Often, a manager can feel stuck when their employees are not performing or when a few bad apples spread negativity among culture in the spa. The answer really does not always have to be to fire. You can reset that expectation and make a change.
Yeah, and sometimes that reset just requires a one-on-one conversation with your negative Nancy's. So dig deeper. Why do they feel the way that they do? Are they even aware what they are doing is affecting the team? Do they understand what your goals are, and do you know what theirs are? Everybody wants to be heard, so if you have employees that are acting out negatively, it could be because they need attention, but they don't consciously recognize that this is how they're asking for it.
Exactly. And be open with your team about the culture you're trying to create and the outcome if it does or doesn't happen. Create that partnership with them because a positive culture needs the buy-in of each employee to succeed. Making sure your team is on the same page as you are is really a key piece here.
Yeah, and like Lauren said earlier, we often think the only answer to stopping bad behavior is through a response like a write-up or something similar. And again, this is not necessarily the case. So when looking to grow culture in your spa, concentrate on spotlighting that good behavior rather than just punishing the bad. Maybe they just need a little help from you to consider your perspective. Maybe they just aren't considering things from another point of view and they need to be shown it. Bottom line is, if this person truly belongs on your team and you don't truly feel like they need to go, then sometimes a little conversation about perspective and how their actions are affecting the team is all it takes.
Yes, perspective is everything. And when spotlighting great performance, use shout outs during meetings or written on reports posted in the break room. Little tokens of appreciation for those who picked up a shift or haven't been late once will really promote that positive culture you're looking for. A thank you, a high five, a little prize, it's going to go a long way. You'd be surprised at how many of those bad apples change their tune once you start doing things like this.
Yep. And lastly, and managers, this is the hard part. Remember to always self-reflect. The culture starts with you. So you need to be honest in asking yourself if you've been keeping a positive mindset or if you let the negativity take over. Have you been telling people what they've done wrong instead of what they've done right? Or how do you respond when they present a problem to you? Had you given up on motivating your team because you were feeling down about stagnant numbers? These are all important questions to ask yourself.
Yes, and once you honestly reflect on these points, you can begin to make that change starting within you. You might even want to go as far as to share your conclusions with your team. Humble yourself a little bit and find a way to let your team know that you're committed to working on your approach as the team's leader as well. This type of humility really leaves the door open for those positive conversations going back and forth, and that's when you truly improve your spa's culture.
So our first guest speaker is Krista, our manager from Alexandria, Virginia, and she has taken shared vision to the next level with her team. They've been hitting their goal of their net gain goal of 24 per month so far. They've been blowing their gross monetary sales goal out of the water. They've really taken this to the next level with their team. So, Kristen, do we have you on?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, welcome.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you.
So you've been working on a shared vision with the regional manager and the owner. So tell us what your shared vision is and how you've been tracking your progress.
So our shared vision is to reach 1,300 members by the end of the year. We also want to hit $1,000 a week in gift card sales and have a 15% year-over-year sales comp. My goals are also to be number one in our franchise group, grow in my own business development, and also grow and develop the team. We track our progress by we receive the Sunday reports on the BI tool, and then I dig into those on Monday morning, and I post our scorecards on Slack, and I use Slack to track our progress.
That's awesome. And have you communicated your shared vision with your staff? And if you have, how did you do that?
It was always a priority for me to build the right culture and to be transparent speaking with the team about their performance. Wow. So I set the standard and expectations with the team. Then I sat down with the team individually and spoke to them. I let them know what I was expecting from them and also what our goals were as a team. So I do my weekly scorecards and I post them on Slack based on that. But I also have my touch base with my LEs and MTs on a weekly basis to set department goals.
I love that you really set expectations with them and took the time to communicate yours with them. That's the whole piece for shared vision, is that transparency. So I love that you did that. Can you tell us how they responded and if it varied from employee to employee?
My LEs and MTs responded really well. They're actually motivated by their numbers, and they challenge themselves to do better week after week to reach their goals. I also post our weekly scorecards in the break room, and as I'm posting them up, if there's anybody in there on their break, they will actually reach over my shoulder to see how they progressed from the last week.
That's awesome.
I love that.
So I've built a strong culture with my teamwork as a strong foundation. They understand that we're working to achieve the same goals, and that allows everyone to be successful.
I love it. That sounds like such a great culture that you have in SPA. And part of your shared vision was to help develop your staff into future managers. So tell us a little bit about that.
I believe that to develop new managers is very important. So part of my management foundation is to always teach your replacement. And that means that when you're promoted up, there is someone already in place that can step right into your shoes and take over. So I'm constantly working with the team on how important it is to the business, to know the business, and especially to know your numbers. So I go over our numbers each week with the team, and I show them where we've improved or if we fell in some of our numbers. And if we are losing traction in an area, I make sure that we focus on that area without another area being affected.
I love that. I think that's so empowering to your team. That's a really, really awesome approach.
Thank you.
Again, I love that you've set that expectation with them and you've really taken the time to communicate all of your goals and build that culture of transparency. Thank you so much for sharing, Krista.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Krista.
Thank you very much.
All right, so we've talked about setting your goals. Now what we need to do is talk about how to track them.
Yes, so when tracking your goals, remember this key word, everybody, ownership. So when we allow our team members to set their own goals, such as for the coming month's conversion, it creates that ownership over that goal by that individual. This team member is more likely to find this goal reasonable and then in turn give more focus to it.
Yep, and the BI tool provides us with various reports, such as the Sunday static reports you receive to help us track our goals. This can be from conversion to double upgrades to even where you stand in the chain. And if your team can update their own progress, have them do so. I love entering spa's offices and seeing whiteboards filled with conversion numbers updated by each SA. This reassures me that each SA is not only aware of their conversion, but tracking it themselves. They also realize how easily a conversion rate can change from shift to shift. It keeps them on their A game and creates friendly competition between the team and with the individual themselves. Remember, if you applied the shared vision approach to creating these goals, that means your team is just as invested as you are in reaching your vision, because these goals are something they help set for themselves.
Yes, amen to that. I love these pictures here. When it comes to tracking goals, also remember again that sometimes quantity is going to be more understandable than a percentage, especially for your service providers. Ensure that you're doing the math for your team, because that MT, again, is going to understand a goal of 20 hot stones much better than 30%. And that specific number is much easier for them to track. A goal not understood is no goal at all.
Agreed. So, even before this webinar, our next guest speaker, Heather, did with her team what we hope all of you will be doing with yours. She hosted a meeting with her team, encouraged them to share their goals and what motivates them, and created a shared vision with her team. In just 6 short weeks, Sugarland has increased sales in many areas, including a 58% increase in product sales, 49% increase in microdermabrasions, and a 31% increase in hot stones, among others.
Wow,
So
that's crazy.
Right. So we would love to welcome Heather on as our next guest speaker.
Hello.
Welcome, Heather.
Hi, Heather. How are
Thank you. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us. So can you tell us first, we've been dying to know what inspired you to adopt this approach in your spa?
Absolutely. So for a long time, we've been for that sort of missing piece of the puzzle in terms of inspiring our aesthetics team to reach some of the goals that we knew they could reach, but we'd just been struggling to hit. When I read about the shared vision approach, it occurred to me that maybe that shared vision was exactly what we were missing, and I thought it could help propel us forward.
That's awesome. I'm so glad that this whole new initiative inspired you. And how did you introduce this to your team?
Well, we had an aesthetics team meeting, and I started out by explaining that I really wanted us to find a shared vision, but to get there, we needed to understand everyone's individual visions and goals for themselves, for the aesthetics team, and then for the spa as a whole. So we gave them some time to brainstorm, and then everyone shared their goals aloud. At the end, I asked them to identify what themes they saw across the group, and we chose 4 that were sort of consistent across team members as our shared vision. So those ended up education, a passion for clients, teamwork and communication, and making more money.
Yeah. That seems to be the top of everybody's list. I love that you actually took the time to find out what their goals were, though. That's so important. Can you tell me how they responded and if it varies?
Yeah, absolutely. They responded well. I think it was enlightening both for me and for them to hear one another's goals, and then really, really helpful to come up with a shared set of goals that we can use sort of as our true north. We actually rolled straight from that activity into another activity where we looked at all of the client feedback we'd received over the course of the year in the aesthetics department, and we kind of broke them down into a few different areas. So professionalism, demonstrating value, setting expectations, communication, et cetera, and had examples of both where client feedback showed us that we had executed well and examples of where client feedback showed us that we'd maybe missed the mark. And then we were able to use the shared vision framework to sort of as a launch pad to tackle the areas where we knew we could do better. And it really helped us get those areas kind of in line with our goals because we were coming at it from a shared point of view. It felt really, really different than a typical meeting. It was very exciting, very energizing, very collaborative. Great.
That's awesome. I think collaboration is really key. It brings, again, that word transparency back into the game. And what did you learn about your employees that you didn't already know through this approach?
Yeah, absolutely. So I found out that 2 of my estheticians actually have aspirations of owning their own spa one day. So that was very interesting.
Yeah.
And also just learning, who is motivated most by money, who is motivated most by client feedback, who's motivated most by education, who really wants to get great results for their clients. It was helpful to understand sort of what makes each of them tick more.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah. So what were a few of the goals that they set for themselves?
So beyond their individual goals, the team goal that they were most focused on was improving communication and teamwork. They felt like that was sort of the base for helping us provide the best possible client experience, and then use that to become the best spa in Sugar Land.
That's awesome. I feel like I hear that word a lot from spa to spas as a goal to just better communication among employees. So I think that's a really common theme here that all the managers listening probably are nodding their heads to. Do you have a lead in your spa? And if so, did they play a unique role in this process?
So we don't have a lead in the aesthetics department, and that's part of why I felt like this exercise and this framework were so important, because we really needed something external to get the team on the same page and excited to work towards the same goal.
Right.
Heather, thank you so much for sharing your story. I know there's going to be a lot of managers out there that this helps.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks so much, Heather.
Thank you.
All right, so a lot of the videos posted to Facebook had to do with team morale and growing the success of the team. If this is happening in your spa, you will see it in customer feedback, such as through SMG. Employee retention and SMG scores are a direct reflection of the culture you have in your business.
Yes, and SMG scores were actually a goal for Pompton Lakes, New Jersey in particular, and their ops manager, Marlo, has worked with them to track their progress here. They started January with 7 scores in red and 2 in yellow, and they ended March with 3 scores in green, 5 in yellow, and just 1 in red.
Oh my gosh, that is such great work. I know that green feels like the elusive color we're all trying to get to with SMG, and Pompton Lakes did it. Great work.
Yes, great job, Pompton Lakes.
So you've shared your vision, you've tracked it, you've reached it. So now it's time to celebrate.
Woohoo! We see some familiar faces here. So hitting goals, big or small, should always be celebrated. One thing to consider is having a sort of treasure chest. And this chest can be filled with little prizes. It can be GWPs, $5 Starbucks gift cards, even like a little token for free service. Everyone loves a good little prize. We can also reward through monetary bonuses based on individual or team performance, or maybe for the spa hitting a milestone such as 2,000 members.
Right, and consider ways you can celebrate reaching your goals with the entire team, such as a fun night out of team bonding at a potluck or a hosted lunch in a decorated break room. Not only will you be celebrating your goals, but you'll be promoting that positive, team-oriented spa culture too.
Yes, and don't underestimate the power of pride, people. There are so many ways to celebrate without breaking the bank. Sometimes bragging rights really will go a long way. We love seeing your posts on the manager's Facebook page showing you and your team celebrating your goals. All of these pictures actually came from there, so thank you guys so much for sharing. This really inspires. Yes, and we love the opportunity to celebrate with you. It's really a great community of supporters, and from balloons to crowns to homemade signs, keep them coming.
Yeah. So on that note, we wanted to share some shared vision updates from all of you.
Woohoo!
So we've got, for our first one, Adriana in Edgewater, New Jersey has a shared vision with her ops manager, Marlo, to get to 1,000 members, get to 15% combined salt and hot stones, and increase the aesthetics ticket by $5 a month. She is already well on her way to hitting 1,000 members and has hit her combined 15% stone goal.
Oh my gosh, great job. And Krista, who you just heard from earlier, and Mia in Alexandria, Virginia, have that shared vision with their ops manager, Bethany. For net gain, they want to hit a minimum of 24 per month and that minimum of gross monetary sales year-over-year comp of 15%. They've hit them both every single month with the exception of just one.
Not to mention you'll have to defend your Spa of the Month award in your spa group, so hang on to that.
And Allison in Weatherford, Texas, has a shared vision with her ops manager, Allie, to get to 1,000 members by the end of 2019. She is already well on her way. She's increased her active member base from 88% all the way up to 93%, and that alone has resulted in an additional 40 net members. Great job, Allison.
Chelsea in Wheaton, Illinois, has a shared vision with her ops manager, Kristen, to reach 2,000 members by the end of 2019. Through weekly goals and tracking, Chelsea and her team have already net gained over 54 members in the first few weeks of execution. Woohoo!
That is awesome.
Yeah. And then we've got Kristen in Raleigh, North Carolina, who has a shared vision with her ops manager, Marlo, to reach $1.3 million in sales, aesthetics to 40% of the business, and 2,000 members by the end of 2019. They've already net gained 161 this year to date and only have 577 left to go. Way to go, Raleigh. You're on track.
Yes, that is incredible. So Spring Lake and Brick also have a hashtag shared vision. And these guys, it's kind of challenging to find a goal that these spas haven't already achieved. But since last year, Lisa Rossman helps them set a goal to increase their double upgrades. And these guys accepted that challenge. So their ops manager, Megan's goal is to share their month-to-month progress every single Monday. And Team Spring Lake and Brick have been super transparent about their goals with their team. And they really look forward to this update.
So we hope we've accomplished a few things on this webinar. Number one, we hope everyone can see past just the videos and understand the initiative and how it unifies us all with a common goal. And two, we also hope we've inspired you to implement this in your own spas with your teams.
Yes, and number three, we kind of hope Todd talks about this on the conference stage if we're being transparent.
So if any of you have any questions about how to create your shared vision or roll this out in your spas and take it to the next level, please don't hesitate to reach out. We are so inspired by everyone's progress so far, and we love how engaged you all have been. So let's take this to the next level and engage your teams now too.
Yes.
All right, so let's see if we have any questions. All right. It looks like we got most of the question answered, which is fantastic. Again, don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have any other questions that pop up. And we want to make sure you mark your calendars for our next managers webinar, which is Employee Management, Keeping the Peace, Tuesday, May 21st. All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. Again, let us know if you want help creating your shared vision with your team, and we hope you have a good rest of your Tuesday, and we will talk to you on May 21st.
Thank you so much.